Shalom Y'all, and welcome to the first of the Hillbilly series. Now, in my intro video, I did say I was going to do several different series of videos. This is the first of the Hillbilly series. The reason I am making this one part of the Hillbilly series is because we're going to be discussing something that takes me out into the hills, right? Something I might take with me. Caveat on this particular video is the build I'm going to show you does not have any food or water in this video, but that is something that I've already taken into account. I will show that later on. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about a piece of hardware that I have. It's a World War II piece of hardware, and so I have extra pieces of gear that I could put together to run a tactical rig with that hardware. I think everybody ought to have a rig, if they own any type of hardware, for that specific hardware itself. So the rig and hardware go hand in hand, and they should be made with that in mind. So you don't have to be scrambling to put a kit together at last minute. You've already got a few rigs. So with that said, I've got a few different vests and plate carriers put together that are built for various pieces of hardware. But that left me with one older antique that I didn't have a vest or anything for. So I was thinking I'm not going to use that tactically anyway. I can make more of an outdoors, a hunter / scout type of rig. So we're going to go through that today, and I'm going to discuss what I put on there and why, and I'm going to show you real quick. I threw this together pretty quickly. I did play around with the idea of making it kind of like the old Alice kit with the butt pack. You'll see what I'm talking about in a few. But anyway, now let's take a look at the build. Now, one thing I like to do is I never get rid of gear. So I always have just surplus laying around. And that's how this was built. Everything here was an extra piece that I had laying around, or I had in a bin with a bunch of other miscellaneous, and then I could throw them together into a kit. That's kind of the idea. You should keep things that are useful, and get rid of the things that are actually not useful. And that way, when you need to put a kit together, boom, you can make it work. This has Molly. This has old school, leather pouch work. It has Alice gear, and there's extra Alice clips under here. So I've got a myriad of ways that you can hook this up. And if you know how to make all the modular systems work together, you can do anything you want with the remnants that you have. And that's what I've done here. So here we go. Here is the battle belt laid out. So right here, you can see that we've got several pouches that were made for the M44. These are Russian surplus. They're carrying the rounds. I got 5 of them. One thing that I knew I needed was a first aid kit. You always need a good first aid kit. You need a good knife, and you're going to need as much ammo as you can fit. So I've got a few little tricks here for ammo. And then I've got what I call a sustainment pouch, but this is by no means a sustainment pouch. This is not meant to keep you out in the wilderness for 72 hours like you would with a stall pack. This is a very small kit to get you out on a patrol and back, or out on a quick hunt and back. So each one of these pouches holds 30 rounds. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 150 rounds right there. Plus I've got an extra 12 rounds right there. So I've got a few rounds, right? And that's simple. Just put it on a belt, and that rigger's belt can go over whatever uniform of the day I have. So if I'm out in the woods and I'm wearing M81 camo, I just put it over the top. I do not put this to hold my pants up. Okay, that's one thing that you're not going to want to do. Now let's dig into what we've got in here. So right off the bat, we've got fire starting material. Inside this tin is some cotton balls that I've soaked in petroleum jelly, great fire starters, and then I've got a lighter. So with this, even if the lighter is out of fluid, the spark from the striker will still light a fire. So I have that. I do plan on adding more redundancies like matches, but this is something for now. Little assisted open blade. Now this is actually a pretty good blade. I don't even remember where I got it. I might have bought it at a Walmart, but it's held up pretty well. So I put that in there, and then I've got a multi-tool. Good Gerber multi-tool. Okay. Next, I've got this stuff in here. This is stuff that's kind of for weather or darkness or whatnot. I can use, this is 550 cord, 50 feet of it. So I could build shelters, I could build weapons, I could build snares. There's a lot of things I could do there. A chili pad. So I do live in the West Desert. It does get hot out here, so that's always a good thing. And then I have a headlight. It's just a cheap one that I found at a surplus store for on sale, you know, and then a couple extra batteries for it. That way I always have light when I need it. Okay, so that's, oh, and then last but not least, Write in the Rain notepad. This one came all the way from, oh yeah, this is all the way from back when I was in the Marine Corps. I probably had this from boot camp. Okay, there's that. Last but not least, first aid. I got an elastic bandage, several gauze rolls. You can never go wrong with those. I've got some surgical dressing. I've got a couple packets of bleed stop. And then I've got a little ouchie kit that I bought, small bandages, cuts, and boo-boo kit. So that's what I have on here right now. So, so with that being said, you can see how hillbillies, we just put things together and this will work. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video of me out in the woods. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Well, I hope that helps some of y'all get inspired to put your gear together and get ready. Anyway. Shalom, y'all.